I want to share some selection capabilities that are unfortunately a little bit hidden related to double clicking. And by double clicking I mean two rapid fire selections with the left hand mouse button. So in this T-spline model, if I double click on an individual face, it will select at the body level, meaning that at that point I could do a move or a delete operation and it applies at the body level, not at the individual elements of the T-spline. I can also select a loop of faces. A loop are a set of contiguous faces, but you need to know what direction. So if you select one face, hold the Shift key down and double click, it's going to then indicate the direction and select all the adjacent faces. So I select one face, holding the Shift key, double click, and it will select all the adjacent faces. Then when I go into Edit Form and make a modification, it's going to apply to all those selected faces. Another useful double-click selection is a range selection. In this case, I select one face. Again, I'm holding down the Shift key and double-click, and it will fill in all the selections between the first and the second. Hold the first, select the first one, hold the Shift key down, double-click, and it will fill in all the faces in between the first and the second selection. The behavior is a little bit different with edges. When I select an edge, there's only one set of adjacent edges that can be selected. So when I select a loop, all I need to do is double-click. Double-click, and it selects all the adjacent edges. I can apply the range selection by selecting the first one and then holding the Shift key down, double-click, and now this entire range has been selected. Again, similar, but when I hit vertices, if I select one, it needs to know which direction a loop is going to be selected in, so holding the Shift key down, selecting this vertice will allow me to indicate the direction of a loop selection. And if I select one vertice and then Shift double click, now I've selected the vertices in between the first and second selection. So these behaviors are the same whether you're in the Edit Form command or outside it. So if I double click on an edge here and then use the crease, it's going to apply to that entire loop. So that's behavior for T-spline bodies. Let's take a look at what's a little different with solid bodies. Here, when I do a double click, I'm selecting at the component level. You see in each case when I do a double click, it's selecting at the component level, and this could be useful when working with assemblies. Finally, when we apply materials, the material browser allows us to, with a single click, modify the material that's applied. But if you double click, it'll expose the editing panel that will allow you to then open up, make a modification